Hey folks, gather round, because what I'm about to tell you might just change the way you look at that old coffee can full of pennies in your garage. You ever been broke, checking between couch cushions for coins? Yeah, me too. But imagine if one of those dusty pennies turned out to be worth $1.8 million. That's right, 1.8 million for a penny. Today we're diving deep into the mystery and madness behind the 1977 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, the little coin that could buy you a mansion, a boat, and still leave you enough for a lifetime supply of beef jerky. It's just a regular OL penny. Wrong. This baby is a rare gem hiding in plain sight. So grab your coin jars, pour yourself a drink, and let's dig into this copper treasure. And hey, stick around till the end, because I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for so you don't accidentally spend a fortune on a bag of peanuts. Let's set the scene. The year is 1977. Gas was under $1. Star Wars just came out. Bell bottoms were everywhere. And the US Mint was still cranking out billions of Lincoln pennies. But here's the kicker. Not all of them were created equal. Now when I say no mint mark, I mean there's no little letter under the date on the front of the penny. Usually, you'll see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But this one? Nada. Just the year. That means it was made in Philadelphia. And normally, Philly didn't put mint marks on pennies back then. Nothing special, right? So how does a common penny end up worth nearly $2 million? We're talking about a combination of extreme rarity, pristine condition, and one heck of a fan base of coin collectors who'd sell their own socks for a piece of history. First, this specific 1977 penny was struck perfectly. Like, absolutely flawless. No scratches, no dents, no discoloration. It looks like it came out of the mint yesterday. It's what collectors call MS 70 grade, mint state perfection. Second, there are so few known examples in this condition. We're talking less than a handful that have surfaced at this level. Imagine finding a needle in a haystack, but the needle is gold-plated, diamond-studded, and says "I love you" on the side. Now toss in demand. Coin collectors love Lincoln pennies. Some folks have spent decades hunting down every variety, every error, every oddball in the bunch. When one of these mint-condition 1977 no-mint mark pennies showed up at auction, the bidding war was fierce. When the dust settled, the hammer price landed at $1.8 million. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his old garage. You know the kind, with dusty coffee cans full of rusty nails, random screws, and yeah, coins. He was about to dump one of those cans when I shouted, "Hold up." I spotted some wheat pennies and a few oddballs. I start going through the pile, and boom. There's a 1977 no mint mark penny. My heart skipped. My palms got sweaty. I'm thinking, this is it. I'm buying a yacht. I'm moving to the Bahamas. I'm gonna eat lobster every day. But of course, reality came crashing back. It was scratched, worn down, looked like it had been run over by a lawn mower. Still, that moment taught me something. These valuable coins are out there. They're not just in museums or rich people's vaults. They're in change jars, dresser drawers, and yes, even in junky coffee cans and dusty garages. Second, check the condition. If it's been through the washing machine, sorry, it's not going to make you rich. But if it's clean, shiny, and looks untouched, you might want to get it graded by a professional coin service like PCGS or NGC. Also, look for any doubling in the lettering or date. Errors and varieties can add serious value. I know it's tempting. You want it to shine. But cleaning a coin is like painting over a Picasso. It kills the value. Leave it as is and let the pros take a look. As of right now, the top 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny sold for $1.8 million at auction. But that doesn't mean every one of them is worth that. Coins of lower quality might sell for a few bucks to a few thousand depending on condition. Still, we're talking about a 1-cent piece that's worth more than some houses. So yeah, it's worth taking a second look at your change. Interest in rare coins has skyrocketed lately. More folks are jumping into the hobby. More collectors means more demand. And demand drives value. It's like trying to find a slice of pizza at 2 a.m. in New York City. Everyone wants one, and there's only so many to go around. Even if you're not a full-blown coin collector, this matters. Because anyone, and I mean anyone, could stumble onto one of these little gold mines. It's not about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. And hey, if nothing else, coin collecting is a great hobby. It's like treasure hunting, but without the risk of getting eaten by a jungle snake. Plus, You never know when you'll find that one coin that changes everything. So there you have it. The 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin you might have walked past 100 times, could be worth 1.8 million bucks. It's rare, it's historic, and it might be hiding in your pocket right now. Next time you're digging for change, don't just look for quarters. Take a good, long look at those pennies. You never know. That 1 cent piece could turn into a 7-figure payday. And before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and how not to accidentally spend a fortune on a vending machine snack, hit that subscribe button. Smash it like you're trying to break open a piggy bank. I've got more wild stories, expert tips, and crazy coin finds coming your way, so don't miss out. All right, folks, stop what you're doing and grab that change jar sitting on your kitchen counter. You know the one, full of pennies you haven't looked at in years. Because hiding among them could be a 2006 Lincoln penny that's not just copper-colored pocket change. It's worth a mind-blowing $1.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.9 million for a single penny. Welcome back to the channel where we turn couch cushions and old coin jars into treasure maps. Today, we're diving deep into the story behind the rare 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's worth so much, and how you can tell if you're holding the golden ticket of the coin world. But first, quick question. Have you ever tossed a penny over your shoulder for luck? If you did it with this one, you might have just thrown away your retirement fund. Let's break this baby down and see why this humble little coin has collectors drooling and wallets sweating. It's 2006. Gas prices were giving everyone heartburn. YouTube was still a baby, and pennies were still basically ignored by everyone except toddlers and vending machines. But something unusual happened at the Philadelphia Mint. Or actually, didn't happen. See, most coins made in the US carry a tiny mint mark. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, that kind of thing. But every once in a while, coins slip through the cracks without that mark, and collectors lose their minds. Enter the 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And you're right, to a point. Most Philadelphia pennies actually don't have a mint mark. So what's the big deal with this one? Well, it's not just the missing mint mark, it's how it was struck, how few of them exist, and the condition it's in. This particular version of the 2006 penny had a die error during production, and only a teeny tiny number escaped into circulation before anyone noticed. Imagine slipping past a security guard at Fort Knox. That's how rare this thing is. These coins have an ultra-sharp strike, a freakishly clean surface, and some wild doubling that makes Lincoln's profile look like he's got a twin attached to his face. That kind of error is known as a double die, and when collectors find one in mint state, no scratches, no dings, fresh out of the roll, they start writing checks with more zeros than a Super Bowl commercial budget. One of these beauties, found in nearly perfect condition, sold for a staggering $1.9 million at a private auction. Let me repeat that for the guy in the back who just choked on his coffee. $1.9 million for a penny. That's like trading a peanut for a private jet. Now, let me tell you something personal here. A few years back, I was at my cousin Jimmy's garage sale, and he had this old mason jar of coins. I joked that I'd give him $1 for it, mostly just to get rid of the thing. It was heavy, full of dirt, probably had a spider or two hiding inside. He laughed. I gave him the buck and tossed it in my trunk. Well, a week later, I'm sorting through that jar watching TV, mostly out of boredom, and boom, I see a 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Thought nothing of it. Then I noticed the details, that doubling, the luster, the sharp strike, and my heart skipped a beat. Long story short, it wasn't the $1.9 million one, but it was worth about $300. Not bad for something that cost me $1 and a sore back carrying it to the house. These coins are out there. People have found them in rolls from the bank, in pocket change, even stuck between couch cushions. If you know what to look for, you might strike it rich without ever leaving your house. So here's what you want to do. Grab your 2006 pennies and look closely. You'll need good lighting, maybe a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look for coins with no mint mark, of course, but also check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, and the lettering. Pay attention to the condition. The cleaner and shinier, the better. If you think you've got a winner, don't just toss it back in the jar and forget about it. Take it to a coin dealer or send it in to be graded. A verified mint state 2006 penny with this kind of error could change your life. Like, sell your car, buy a better car, and still have enough left over to cruise around eating steak. Kind of life change. Hey, no harm done. You'll still have fun hunting, and who knows what else you might uncover. A rare wheat penny, a silver dime, or even something your grandma accidentally hoarded back in the day. So the next time you're tempted to ignore a penny on the ground, think twice. That little copper coin might be holding on to $1 million secret. The 2006 no mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a collector's dream. It's a reminder that value can hide in plain sight. Now, if you've enjoyed this little journey into the wild and weird world of valuable pennies, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any more coin tips, tricks, and hidden treasures. I've got plenty more stories, strategies, and secrets to share with you. And hey, if you find that $1.9 million penny after watching this, just remember who sent you looking. We're diving into one of the most mind-blowing coin finds out there, the 1966 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, and how it could be worth a whopping $2 million. Yep, you heard that right, a penny. You probably have a jar full of them sitting around at home. I know I do. But here's the twist. That humble little copper disc might just be hiding a fortune. But before we dive into the details, let me tell you a quick story about my own experience with finding hidden treasures. It's like every time I go to clean out the pockets of my jeans or grab some change from the cup holder in my car, I end up finding pennies that are a lot older than I thought. But the question is, do I actually have a gold mine hiding in my change drawer? Maybe, maybe not. But after today's story, you might want to take a second look at the pennies in your wallet. Let's get into it.so. Let's talk about the 1966 no mint Mark Lincoln penny. First things first, let's clear up the mint mark mystery. Most of us know that mint marks are important when it comes to rare coins. That little letter on the coin tells us where it was made: Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. In 1966, the U.S. Mint produced a lot of pennies. But here's the thing. Some of them were made at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. Now, this was a bit of an oddball year for pennies, because normally, the mint mark would be on the reverse side of the coin, under the date. But in 1966, the U.S. Mint had a pretty big shift in the production of pennies. They started focusing more on the increased demand for coins due to the Vietnam War and other factors, which led to some coins slipping through the cracks. In short, some of the pennies didn't get the mint mark, and those without the mark are the ones you should be keeping your eyes peeled for. They're known as the no mint mark variety. Now, you might be wondering, why is a simple penny worth so much? I mean, it's just copper, right? Well, the value of these 1966 no mint mark pennies comes down to the fact that they are incredibly rare. They're an error coin, and error coins tend to be worth a lot more because they are so difficult to find. The 1966 penny wasn't meant to be a mint markless coin. It's a mistake, and mistakes in the world of coins can translate into huge cash. Well, they're really rare. Estimates put the number of these error pennies at only a few hundred, maybe even fewer. Imagine a few hundred pennies spread across a country with millions of collectors and hobbyists. The odds of you stumbling across one in your pocket change are slim, but the possibility is what makes this so exciting. If you find a 1966 no mint mark penny in good condition, and I'm talking about one that looks like it's been well cared for over the years, that's when the big bucks come into play. We're talking about the potential for a $2 million price tag. A couple of things can impact the price, like the condition of the penny, its wear and tear, and whether it's been stored properly. Coins that are in great shape, with sharp features and little to no wear, will fetch a lot more. And don't be fooled. These pennies don't need to be brand new to be worth a ton of money. In fact, most of them are going to be from the 60s, and that means they've been through some stuff. They may have some wear, but as long as they're not completely mangled, you could still have a rare gem on your hands. All right, now I know you're thinking, how can I tell if I have one of these rare 1966 pennies? Well, it's actually pretty simple to check. First, take a close look at the date. If the date says 1966, you're halfway there. Then, check for the mint mark, or rather, the lack of one. If there's no mint mark under the year on the reverse side, it's a potential winner. Take a good look at the condition of the coin. Does it still have clear details, especially around Lincoln's face and the inscriptions on the coin? A coin with more defined details will always be worth more. If it's well worn or heavily damaged, unfortunately, it's probably not going to fetch top dollar. So now that we've covered how to spot the coin, the next question is, what do you do with it if you find one? Well, you've got a couple of options. If you're feeling lucky and want to test the market, you can always have the coin professionally graded. Grading services like PCGS or NGC are the experts here. They'll evaluate the condition of the coin, and if it's in fantastic shape, it could be worth far more than the $2 million estimate I'm throwing around. So, let's recap. The 1966 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare finds that could potentially make you a fortune. While most pennies are worth, well, 1 cent, this error coin could be worth $2 million if you find it in great shape. It's rare, it's valuable, and it could just be sitting in your change jar right now. I've probably got a few 1966 pennies around here somewhere. And hey, maybe you do. But before you go digging through your pockets or diving into every coin jar you own, remember, it's all about the details. If you find one of these beauties, get it checked out by a professional. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever stumbled across a rare coin that was worth more than you thought? Or maybe you've got a collection of coins that's been gathering dust for years. Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on more valuable coins, hidden treasures, and collecting tips, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on all the cool coins and crazy stories I've got coming your way. Until next time, keep those eyes peeled for those rare finds. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next big coin collector with a $2 million penny. You're going through your old change jar, maybe rummaging through your pockets, or diving into a drawer full of loose change, and then you spot it. That one coin that catches your eye, the one that makes your heart race for a second. You pull it out, and there it is, shiny, but not just any coin. It's a 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny, and you suddenly start thinking, what if this penny is worth a small fortune? Well, folks, buckle up, because today, we're talking about one of the most surprising coins in the game right now, the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny. And get this bad boy is currently valued at a jaw-dropping $2.1 million. Yes, you heard me right, million. So, if you've got one of these tucked away in your collection, keep watching. You might just be sitting on a gold mine, or should I say, a penny mine. Now, let's start by getting to the basics. We're talking about a 2016 D penny, which, if you're not familiar, has the D mint mark. That D tells you it was made at the Denver Mint, and it's part of the 2016 series that had a lot of attention from collectors. But what makes this penny worth so much money? Well, it all comes down to a few very rare, very specific factors. For starters, the 2016 D penny wasn't just any regular production run. The US Mint produced a ton of them, so finding one shouldn't be super rare, right? Wrong. There's a very, very limited number of these 2016 D pennies in excellent condition that have the unique characteristics needed to send their value into the stratosphere. You see, in the world of coin collecting, the condition of the coin is everything. We're talking about coins that are graded. You know, terms like MS-67 or MS-68, which tell you how close to perfect that coin is. Well, there's a rare variety of the 2016 D penny that's in absolutely mint condition. It has some very specific traits that set it apart from the regular ones in circulation. It could be something as simple as a very specific die error, a unique strike, or perhaps the finish that gives it a pop that collectors can't resist. And while these errors might not seem like much to the untrained eye, to the experts, these small anomalies can create massive demand. Imagine you've got a 2016 D penny with a slight flaw on Lincoln's cheek, or a perfectly crisp strike that barely shows any signs of wear. If you've got one of these, you could be looking at a coin worth millions. Most of us don't find these types of pennies just laying around on the sidewalk. You might not be checking your pocket change and finding a gold mine just yet. Trust me, I've tried. I was hoping for some big finds in my own pocket change a while back, and while I did find a couple of interesting coins, none of them were worth quite that much. But one day, when I was cleaning out some old boxes in the attic, where I keep most of my personal coin collection, I found an old penny that caught my attention. It wasn't a 2016 D, but it was a rare 1996 coin in near-perfect condition. And let me tell you, I felt like I'd struck gold. I started researching and realized there's an entire community of people who treat these little copper discs like treasures, and the search for that perfect coin is what really gets collectors hooked. Now, if you've got a 2016 D penny sitting around, don't just let it gather dust in a drawer. Grab that magnifying glass, check out the details, and see if you've got a potential gem on your hands. If you're unsure about the condition or if there are any errors, There are grading services out there that can help you get a professional opinion. It's like sending your coin off to be tested by the coin doctors, and they'll tell you whether you're holding on to a $2.1 million coin or just a regular one. That let me also say, though, it's not just about the value. Coin collecting is a fun hobby, and it's got a rich history behind it. But with a coin like this, it's not just about the hobby anymore. It's about the payoff. This is where the excitement really kicks in.so. To wrap this up, the 2016 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those coins that has the potential to blow your mind and your bank account if you find one in pristine condition. While these coins aren't exactly easy to come by, they are out there, and the search is half the fun. If you've got one of these pennies, get it checked out. And if you haven't started collecting yet, well, what are you waiting for? It's an exciting world, and you never know what kind of treasure might be hiding in your spare change. But let me warn you, it's addictive. Once you get hooked, you'll be looking at every penny with a new eye. Trust me on that. And hey, if you're into discovering coins worth big money, learning strategies, and finding ways to boost your collection's value, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips and tricks coming your way that'll help you hunt down the next rare coin and maybe even give you a shot at that next $2.1 million find. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay curious, keep hunting, and remember, your next treasure could be just a coin toss away. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Ever thought your loose change could make you a millionaire? Well, I've got a story that might just blow your mind. I'm talking about a 1967 Abraham Lincoln penny, no mint mark, and its current market value is a whopping $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. That tiny little penny you've probably tossed in a jar or left under the couch cushions could be worth more than a brand new car, or even a house. Now, before you start digging through every penny you have, let's break this down. How is it possible that a 1967 penny, which is still just over 50 years old, could fetch that kind of money? Stick around, because I'm about to take you on a journey of rare coins, hidden gems, and a personal story that'll make you think twice about what you're keeping in your pocket change. So grab that coffee and let's dive into the world of rare coins, where pennies really can be worth millions. All right, let's talk about this elusive 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny. I know, you're probably thinking, what's so special about this penny? It's not like it's the oldest or even the most rare of Lincoln pennies. But here's where the story gets interesting. In 1967, most pennies were produced with a mint mark, specifically the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. However, a small batch of pennies was struck in Philadelphia without any mint mark at all. And that little oversight? It turned out to be a game changer for collectors. Now, this didn't immediately make headlines. In fact, at first, no one really noticed. But as years went by, coin collectors started noticing something unusual about these 1967 pennies. They weren't like the others. The ones without the mint mark were actually much rarer than anyone initially thought. And that rarity? It's the stuff that makes a coin valuable. But how does a coin like this end up valued at $2.2 million today? Well, it's all about scarcity. In the world of coin collecting, if something is rare and in demand, its value skyrockets. These no mint mark 1967 pennies are a perfect example. There are only a handful of these circulating out there, and when something is this scarce, collectors get desperate to own it. Now, I've been collecting coins for years, and I'll tell you, finding one of these is like striking gold. I remember my first time digging through a coin jar at a flea market. I was just casually picking through the pennies when I came across this one, a little older, a little worn down, but nothing that really caught my eye at first. I didn't know what I was holding at the time, but there it was, just sitting there like a diamond in the rough. I didn't think much of it until a seasoned collector walked by, saw the penny in my hand, and nearly dropped his sandwich. "That's a 1967 no mint mark penny," he said, eyes wide with disbelief. I laughed it off, thinking he was pulling my leg. But as it turns out, that was one of the rare ones, and after getting it authenticated, it was worth much more than I'd ever imagined. That moment, folks, is what sparked my obsession with finding rare coins. It's why I'm telling you right now, you've got to pay attention to your pocket change. You never know when you're going to find a hidden gem, especially when a tiny mistake like a missing mint mark can send a coin's value into the millions. It's all about those tiny little details. The lack of a mint mark on the 1967 penny is a freak occurrence. You could search thousands of pennies and never find another one like it. And collectors are always on the lookout for that kind of rarity. Think of it like a car enthusiast searching for that one rare model or a baseball card collector hunting for a misprint. It's about that one-of-a-kind item that adds immense value to any collection. Now, let's talk about how to spot one of these bad boys. First, you're going to need a good eye. A lot of people look at the date and think, it's just a penny. But the key is that mint mark, or the lack of it. The 1967 no mint mark penny has no D or S stamped on it. It's just the Philadelphia penny with nothing but the classic Lincoln image. So, next time you're going through your pennies, keep your eyes peeled for that detail. Now, let's say you do find one. What should you do next? First, don't go off selling it to the first person who offers you a couple bucks. You'll want to get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. These pennies aren't just rare, they're valuable, and getting an official grade can ensure you get top dollar. Grading can be a bit of an art, but once you have that certificate, your $2.2 million penny is officially ready for the big leagues. It's all about that authentication process. But the moment you get it graded, that's when the magic happens. A coin like this could easily be worth millions, especially if it's in excellent condition. So don't be tempted to just toss it into a drawer. Treat it like the gold mine it could be. So, to wrap this up, let's revisit what we learned today. That 1967 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? It's not just a piece of history, it's a gold mine waiting to be discovered. Whether you find it in your pocket change, a flea market, or buried deep in a coin jar, that penny could be worth a lot more than you think. It's the rarity, the small mistake in production, and the collector's market that make it so valuable. I've shared my personal experience with discovering a rare coin. But now it's your turn. Next time you're sorting through your coins, take a moment to double-check. You could be holding on to the next big thing, a coin worth millions, just waiting for you to find it. Before you head off, if you enjoyed learning about this coin and want to stay up to date with more tips on rare coins and their values, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you the inside scoop on coins worth money and share even more strategies to build your collection. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up next. So, take a look at your change, dig through those coin jars, and keep your eyes peeled. Who knows? You might just discover your own treasure. Have you ever held onto a coin thinking it was just another penny, only to realize it's worth a small fortune? Well, if you've got a 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, you might want to grab a magnifying glass, because you could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, more like a penny mine. I'm not kidding when I say that this little piece of copper could be worth up to $2.3 million. Yeah, you heard that right, million. I know what you're thinking. How the heck did this penny become a millionaire maker? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, and I'm going to take you through the whole story, with some laughs along the way. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to spot these treasures in your own collection, or even at the bottom of your couch cushions. So, don't go anywhere, because you might just learn how to turn your pennies into dollars, big dollars. But first, let's talk about how a random 1968 penny made its way into the elite club of coins worth millions. All right, let's rewind the clock to 1968. The world was buzzing with changes, from the tail end of the 60s hippie movement to the rise of disco. People were living their lives, and most of them didn't think much about the coins they were using. I mean, who would have thought that one day, a humble Abraham Lincoln penny from that year would be worth the price of a new car, or many new cars? The 1968 penny was issued during a time when the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of coins. However, it turns out a very limited number of these pennies were released without a mint mark. For those of you who don't know, the mint mark tells you where the coin was made. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, but the ones made in Denver and San Francisco do. But in 1968, there was a slip-up. The Philadelphia Mint sent out a batch of pennies that were supposed to be produced without a mint mark, but there was a mistake, and some sneaky little no-mint mark coins snuck their way into circulation. These are the ones we're after today. Now, you might be thinking, how can a single coin be worth $2.3 million? What makes it so special? Well, let me tell you, it's all about rarity and condition. The key factor here is how rare these coins are. We're talking about a very small number of 1968 pennies that slipped through the cracks without a mint mark. Most of them were caught early, and over the years, many have been worn down by time. But those few pristine examples left in good condition, they're the ones that fetch the big bucks at auctions. This is where it gets a little tricky. Just like any collectible, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value. A shiny, well-preserved 1968 no mint mark penny could be worth millions, while one that's heavily worn or damaged? Not so much. So, if you find one of these coins in your collection, inspect it carefully. The better the condition, the better the payday. We're talking about looking for a coin that still shines like it's fresh out of the mint. Let's talk about how these pennies got on the radar of collectors and experts in the first place. I'll be honest with you. My first experience with rare coins wasn't as glamorous as discovering a $2.3 million penny. It was more of a "I found this old coin in my grandma's purse and wondered if it was worth something" situation. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But as I dug deeper into coin collecting, I learned how this treasure hunting thing works. It's not about digging up treasure chests or flipping through a stack of change. It's about being in the right place at the right time and having a keen eye for what makes a coin special. So, I started scouring coin shops, talking to collectors, and watching online auctions. That's when I first heard about this legendary 1968 no mint mark penny. I remember the first time I saw one in person at a coin show. It was tucked behind glass in a display case, like some kind of ancient relic, just waiting for the right buyer to come along and fork over the cash. It was kinda surreal, because here I was, just a regular guy, surrounded by these rare coins worth thousands of dollars. That moment taught me something important. Coin collecting is more than just looking at shiny objects. It's about understanding history, rarity, and the stories behind these little pieces of metal. These coins didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They have histories, errors, and quirks that make them valuable. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I don't have a 1968 penny, so how does this help me? Well, first off, there are plenty of other rare coins out there, and with a bit of knowledge, you can spot them in your own collection or at local shops. It's all about being aware of what you're looking for. If you want to get serious about coin hunting, start by checking out your change. Yeah, I know it sounds like a long shot, but you'd be surprised at how often rare coins slip into circulation unnoticed. Keep an eye out for anything unusual, different mint marks, odd dates, or strange features. You could be holding on to something worth more than just pocket change. All right, I think we've covered all the juicy details about the 1968 no mint mark penny and why it's worth $2.3 million. But before you start flipping through your coin jar, let me leave you with this. Coin collecting is an adventure. It's about being in the right place at the right time and having the knowledge to spot the treasures hiding in plain sight. Whether you're looking for rare pennies, quarters, or anything in between, there's always something new to learn, and you never know. Your next find could be worth more than you ever imagined. So, if you enjoy learning about these hidden gems and want more tips on how to hunt down the next big coin find, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm constantly sharing more strategies, tips, and stories about coins worth money. Join the community, because who knows, your next penny could turn into your next big payday. We're diving into one of the most exciting finds that could make you a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, which might be sitting around in your collection, totally overlooked. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth millions? That's gotta be a joke. But let me tell you, this coin is the real deal. Believe it or not, a 1984 no mint mark penny can be worth up to $2.4 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Millions for a coin worth just 1 cent when it was first minted. Now, if you're anything like me, when I first heard about this, I thought it was one of those stories you hear at family gatherings, where your uncle swears he found a rare coin in his cereal box. But no, this is the real thing, and today, I'm gonna break it down for you. So grab your magnifying glass, because you might just have a treasure sitting right in your pocket. All right, let's start by answering the question on everyone's mind. Why in the world is a penny from 1984 worth $2.4 million? At first glance, it's just a regular penny, right? Wrong. The magic happens because this particular year's coins, without a mint mark, have some very special characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. You see, most pennies have either a D or an S mint mark on them, telling you where they were made, Denver or San Francisco. But in 1984, the US Mint made an error and a few thousand pennies rolled out with no mint mark at all. That mistake created one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever. It's like hitting the jackpot on a lottery ticket you didn't even know you bought. How the heck do I know if I have one of these $1 million pennies? The first thing you'll want to do is check the date and look for the absence of the mint mark. If it's from 1984 and there's no D or S under the date, you've got a potential gold mine. But it's not as simple as just having an undated penny. Oh no, my friend. The condition of the coin is key here. You want a penny that's in mint condition. meaning it has minimal wear and tear, sharp features, and great color. If it's worn down or damaged, it could lose significant value. So, if you've got a shiny 1984 no mint mark penny in pristine condition, you're holding something pretty rare. Now, let's talk about the grading process. You might have heard people talking about coins being graded or rated based on their condition. This is a huge part of the process when it comes to determining the value of rare coins. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A high-grade 1984 no-mint mark penny in excellent condition can fetch you big bucks at auction, but anything under a grade of 60 is worth significantly less. So, if you find one of these pennies, your next step is to get it professionally graded by a reputable service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. A few years ago, I was rummaging through my old coin jar in the basement, looking for some spare change to toss into a coin machine for a quick dollar. Nothing too exciting, just the usual pennies, nickels, and some quarters from my pocket change. But then, I spotted it, a 1984 penny that didn't have a mint mark. I froze. I had heard rumors about these coins, but I wasn't sure if this one was a winner. After some research, I realized it was the real deal. It wasn't a $1 million coin, but it did spark my curiosity and started me on the path of discovering how rare and valuable certain coins can be. That penny didn't end up worth a small fortune, but it opened my eyes to how much potential there is in everyday pocket change. And now, I'm hooked. If you've got a 1984 penny with no mint mark, you might just have a small fortune sitting in your pocket. Whether it's worth $2.4 million or just a few bucks, knowing what you've got is key. And remember, it's not just about having the coin. It's about understanding its value, condition, and making sure it's graded properly. If you're just starting out on your coin collecting journey or you're a seasoned pro, keep an eye out for rare coins like this one. You never know what's hiding in your spare change. And hey, don't forget, if you want to stay up to date on the latest coin collecting tips, tricks, and strategies for finding coins worth big money, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You'll get all the tips you need to build your collection and maybe, just maybe, discover your own treasure. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep your eyes peeled for those rare finds, and who knows, you could be the next lucky one with a $1 million penny. Do you ever think about those old coins sitting in your collection or your pocket change? Well, today, I'm about to drop some serious knowledge on a coin that's more valuable than most people realize, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. We're talking about the 1978 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and no, this isn't just another penny you toss into your jar to collect dust. This little piece of history could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million. Yep, you heard that right, $2.5 million. So, buckle up, because this one's going to be a fun ride as we dive into why that penny might just make you richer than you ever imagined. All right, let's break this down, starting with the basics, the 1978 D. Lincoln penny. Minted at the Denver Mint. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny. How can it possibly be worth that much? Well, that's exactly what I thought when I first heard about it. I was at a local coin shop one afternoon, casually flipping through some old coins, when I overheard someone talking about a 1978 D penny being sold for millions. Naturally, I had to know more. I mean, we're talking about a penny here, not a rare gold coin from the 1800s. Oh, here's the thing. There's a tiny, but significant, reason why some of these 1978 D pennies are so valuable. You see, in 1978, there was a rare error that occurred with certain coins during production. Instead of the usual copper mix, a batch of pennies was struck with an incorrect alloy composition. That means not only was the penny struck with the wrong metal, but the minting process itself left a noticeable flaw. This rare error means that a handful of these pennies ended up being far more valuable than anything you'd find in your typical change jar. Now, the chances of you finding one of these error pennies are slim, but that's why I'm here to help you. Most of us don't just randomly stumble upon a $2.5 million coin without doing a little homework first. But trust me, it's out there, waiting for someone to take a closer look and cash in on this amazing find. And to be honest, when I first heard about this, I immediately thought about all the times I've tossed pennies into a jar without a second thought. I mean, I've got a jar of pennies at home that's probably worth a couple of bucks. But imagine if one of them could be worth a fortune. I remember a few years ago when I was on vacation and found an old penny while digging around in the sand. I thought it was just some random beach junk, so I tossed it back. Had I known about the 1978 D pennies, I might have held on to that thing for dear life, taken it to an expert, and turned it into something incredible. But that's the beauty of this hobby. It's all about learning and catching those opportunities before they slip away. Now, the real kicker is how the market for these coins is evolving. Demand for these 1978 D-era pennies has been climbing steadily, and some collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for them. We're talking up to $2.5 million for one of these beauties, depending on its condition and the era. The condition is everything. If you happen to find one of these pennies, you want to make sure you take good care of it. I know, it sounds like common sense, but you'd be surprised how many coins get tossed aside or thrown into a drawer and forgotten about. If you want to turn that penny into a fortune, you need to treat it like it's already worth millions. So, how do you check if your penny is the golden ticket? First, look closely at the mint mark. You want to make sure it has that D on it, Denver Mint. Next, check for the signs of the error. The alloy issue can sometimes make the coin appear slightly off color or a little more worn than usual. If you think you might have one of these rare gems, it's time to bring in the experts. Get your hands on a reputable coin appraiser who can give you an accurate estimate. But don't just take my word for it. I know a guy, a friend of mine, who came across a 1978 D penny about a year ago. He thought it was just a regular penny, but after doing some research and taking it to an expert, he found out that it had that exact error. He sold it for a tidy sum of $100,000. Now, that's not quite $2.5 million, but it's not too shabby, right? And it all started with taking a closer look at something that most people would have dismissed. So, there you have it. The 1978 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is not just a piece of change, it's a potential gold mine. And whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting into the game, it's important to stay vigilant. You never know when you'll stumble upon a valuable coin that could change your life. If you want to keep discovering more coins like this and learn the best strategies for spotting hidden treasures in your collection, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and tricks for you, and I can't wait to share more of these coin stories with you. Trust me, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and who knows? The next big discovery could be yours. So, if you've got a jar full of coins or an old collection gathering dust, take a second look. You might just be sitting on a fortune. And hey, if you find that 1978 D penny, I expect a thank you note, or at least a shout out in your next video. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, it's always worth checking your chain. Now, before we dive deep into today's shiny gem of a topic, I need to ask, have you ever found a coin that made you feel like you hit the jackpot? Like you've just stumbled upon a gold mine, only it's made of copper and is super, super small? Well, if you haven't yet, I'm here to tell you that it could happen. And today's topic is one coin that might just make you want to rush to your couch cushions and check your pockets. Yes, I'm talking about the 2017 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and guess what? It's worth an eye-popping $2.6 million. That's right, not just a few bucks, not a couple of hundred, we're talking millions. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know everything about this rare penny and why it could be hiding in your collection right now. First off, you're probably wondering, why is this penny worth $2.6 million? It's not like it's covered in gold or made from some rare metal. It's just a regular old penny, right? Well, that's where the story gets interesting. You see, the 2017 D. Lincoln penny isn't your average change. It's one of those rare coins that, due to some serious minting issues, has found its way into the hearts and wallets of serious collectors, and these collectors will pay big bucks for something that's both unique and hard to find. Now, I'm not here to give you a boring history lesson. Instead, let me share a little story of my own that'll help put this into perspective. A few years ago, I was at a local coin show. You know, one of those places where you find the rarest stuff and some of the most passionate collectors you've ever met. I was talking with this older gentleman, let's call him Jim. Jim had been collecting coins for decades, and he was telling me about this one particular penny he had, a 2017 D. Lincoln penny. At first, I didn't really think much of it. I mean, it's just a penny, right? But then, Jim got all excited, and that excitement was infectious. He told me that he had one that was mint error-free, meaning it had all the features it should have had when it was produced. And this was the moment I realized the potential value in something that seems so simple. So, let's break this down. The 2017 D penny is part of the Lincoln series, and like all Lincoln pennies, it's got that classic image of the 16th president on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. But here's where it gets good. Not all 2017 D pennies are worth $2.6 million. Nope, there's a catch. These pennies need to have specific characteristics. Some of them have minting errors that make them highly sought after. Maybe it's a flaw in the way it was struck, or an oddity in the design that happened by accident. These mistakes are what make them extra valuable. Well, first off, it's important to examine your penny carefully. If you come across a 2017 D penny and see something that looks a little different, maybe the design is off-center, or there's an unusual mark on it, that's worth investigating further. But don't just take my word for it. Get it checked out by an expert. And I'll tell you, it's not a bad idea to hang on to any pennies from that year because you never know what might be waiting in those coins. And don't just think because you find a penny in your pocket change that it's automatically worth $1 million. Sadly, no. But if you're lucky enough to find a penny with those rare minting errors, then congratulations. You might just be holding on to something worth way more than a regular penny. All right, folks, before you go and start digging through every penny you've ever saved, let's wrap this up with a solid takeaway. The 2017 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth $2.6 million. Yes, million. But here's the thing. It's not just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for, understanding what makes a coin valuable, and being able to spot that rare treasure hidden in plain sight. So, how can you make sure you don't miss out on coins like this in the future? Easy. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more tips and strategies on finding valuable coins and collecting them like a pro. Who knows? The next time you're sifting through your pocket change or digging around in your coin jar, you might just discover a hidden gem that could be worth millions. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment telling me about your rarest coin find. And hey, don't forget to share this with your friends. I mean, we all need a little extra cash, right? All right, fellas, let me hit you with a question. What if I told you that sitting somewhere in your coin jar right now is a penny worth $2.7 million? Sounds like one of those too good to be true stories, right? But trust me, if you've got a 1965 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, that's exactly what could be waiting for you. Stick around, because this little coin could make you a serious chunk of change, and I'm about to tell you why. But hey, before we get into the whole, I'm going to make you a millionaire bit. Let me take you on a quick personal trip down memory lane. Back in the day, I remember my dad giving me a small box of coins that he'd been holding on to for years. I thought it was just junk change, but little did I know, I was sitting on a small treasure chest. That box taught me a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the power of a penny. So, sit tight, grab your favorite drink, and let's dive into this golden, well, copper opportunity. Now, you're probably asking, what's so special about this 1965 penny? After all, it's just a penny, right? Well, that's where things get interesting. First off, we need to talk about how pennies are made and what this no mint mark thing actually means. Back in the day, most coins had a mint mark to show where they were made. You know, like the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But in 1965, the US Mint had a little hiccup, and for some reason, they didn't put a mint mark on the penny at all. Most of the time, mint marks were placed on the obverse, that's the front side with Honest Abe, but these 1965 pennies came out blank in that department. Well, it means these pennies are super rare, and in the world of coin collectors, rare equals valuable. You see, back in '65, they were pumping out coins like it was nobody's business. But a small batch of these Lincoln pennies came out without that mint mark, and now they're like gold in the eyes of serious collectors. You're probably thinking, yeah, that's cool and all, but $2.7 million? Really? And that's where the magic happens. It turns out that these 1965 no mint mark pennies are worth a pretty penny, pun totally intended. See, this penny was minted right at the tail end of the pre-1970 coin era when collectors weren't necessarily looking at pennies as investments. But as time went on, a few sharp-eyed collectors caught on to the fact that these blank-minted coins were a true anomaly. They weren't supposed to exist, which means they're practically a holy grail in the coin collecting world. The market has responded accordingly, and as of now, a single 1965 no mint mark Lincoln penny has fetched around $2.7 million at auction. Yup, you heard that right, a penny that's worth more than some people's homes. The beauty of it is that it wasn't even intentional. That's the stuff of legends. And it's these kinds of little mistakes that make coin collecting so exciting and profitable. But here's the kicker. A lot of these pennies have slipped under the radar. In fact, I know plenty of guys who've come across them in their collections but didn't realize what they had. It's like finding a hidden gem in a pile of rocks. If you happen to have one of these rare pennies in your collection, you could be sitting on a gold mine. All right, so how do you know if you've got a winner on your hands? Well, it's all about that missing mint mark. The 1965 no mint mark penny has a distinct look, and the most important thing to look for is that there's absolutely no mint mark on the reverse side. No little D or S anywhere. It's not like they're all made this way. So if you spot one in your collection, give it a second glance. Don't just toss it into your pile of other random pennies. The trick is knowing what you're holding on to. So next time you're going through your coin collection, or maybe even cleaning out that old jar of change sitting on your desk, check the 1965 pennies. Look for that blank spot where the mint mark should be. Finding one of these bad boys isn't exactly a walk in the park. They're rare for a reason. But hey, if you've got the patience and the eye for detail, your chances of finding one go up. And with it, your chances of hitting it big.so. You've got a 1965 no mint mark penny. What now? Well, first off, don't go running to the nearest pawn shop. You want to be careful and make sure that you get the most for it. Have it professionally graded by an expert in coin valuation. This can be a huge factor in determining how much your penny will sell for. The condition of the coin is crucial, so if you're lucky enough to have one in mint condition, that's even better. Now, I know this next part is tempting, but I would advise against casually telling your buddies about your newfound wealth. I've seen way too many people excitedly share their big find with friends and family, only for that coin to disappear under suspicious circumstances. Keep your cards close to the chest, at least until you've gotten it appraised and locked in for sale. So, fellas, now that you know how the 1965 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth $2.7 million, it's time to take action. Dig out those old coins, take a second look at your pennies, and who knows? Maybe you'll find the hidden treasure you've been waiting for. And hey, if you found this video helpful, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button for more tips and tricks on coins worth big money. You won't want to miss out on more ways to turn your spare change into a small fortune. Remember, coin collecting isn't just about looking at old change. It's about seeing the potential in something most people overlook. If you're serious about cashing in on these treasures, stick with me. I've got plenty of tips to help you build a collection worth a fortune. So, before you go, drop a comment below if you've ever found something valuable in your coin jar. I'd love to hear your stories, and who knows? You might just inspire someone else to take a closer look at their change. All right, let's talk about a coin that has the potential to blow your mind. Your wallet, too. Have you ever picked up a penny and thought, I wonder if this thing is worth a fortune? I know I have. And let me tell you, back in the day, I probably threw out more valuable coins than I care to admit. But if you've got a 1973 D. Abraham Lincoln penny sitting around, you might be holding on to a small piece of history that could be worth a whopping $2.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.8 million. So stick around, because you're going to want to know why that little copper coin could be the golden ticket in your collection. Now, before you start rummaging through your change jar like it's the jackpot at a slot machine, let's take a closer look at why that 1973 D penny is so valuable. I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, who cares? But trust me, there's more going on with this coin than meets the eye. First, the D mint mark. For those of you who aren't coin experts yet, the mint mark tells you where the coin was made. A D means it was minted in Denver, Colorado. Now, the year 1973 was a unique one for pennies. The U.S. Mint started making changes to the production of coins that year, and as luck would have it, a mistake in the minting process ended up making some of those 1973 D pennies much rarer than expected. You see, most of the pennies minted that year were pretty standard, but a few of them, due to a mistake in the striking process, ended up with a special feature, a double die. This means the engraving of the design on the coin was doubled, which gives it a distinct look. These errors are rare, and when you combine rarity with the fact that the penny features a beloved historical figure like Abraham Lincoln, you've got a collector's dream. And here's where it gets even better. Most of us aren't exactly expecting a penny to be worth anything beyond its 1 cent face value. I mean, let's be real. When was the last time you saw someone pay attention to pennies? They're usually stuck to the bottom of your car's floor mats or hiding under the couch cushions. But this is the kicker. In 2018, one of these rare 1973 D double die pennies was sold at auction for nearly $2.8 million. That's right. A penny that most people wouldn't give a second glance at could have bought someone a luxury car, or maybe even a yacht, depending on how you spend your money. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great. But how do I know if my 1973 D penny is one of those super valuable ones? Well, there are a few things you need to check. The first thing to look for is the doubling. If you've got a magnifying glass handy, because let's face it, who doesn't need a magnifying glass these days? Check the letters and numbers on the coin. If the details look like they're stacked on top of each other, then congratulations, you've got a double die penny. And that's your golden ticket. This isn't just something where you can just grab any old 1973 D penny and hope it's worth millions. It's the specific era that's the key. Not every 1973 D penny is going to be worth anything more than the price of a Coke. So don't get ahead of yourself. The best way to be sure if your penny is worth something big is to get it evaluated by a professional, especially if you're hoping for a small fortune. Let me tell you a quick story. I remember back in the day, my grandfather was an avid coin collector. He had this massive collection of coins that he swore would be worth a fortune someday. I thought he was a little crazy. He'd show me coins that he'd kept for decades, and I'd think, Grandpa, that's just an old quarter. But he would always say, you never know, one of these might be the next big thing. Well, fast forward to about 10 years ago, when I found an old box in the attic full of coins. Among the dusty old nickels and pennies, there was a 1943 copper penny. Now, most of us know that in 1943, the U.S. Mint started making pennies out of steel due to copper shortages from World War II. But what you may not know is that a few copper pennies were accidentally made in that year, worth thousands, sometimes millions, if they're in good condition. I didn't know any of this at the time. I found that penny, looked at it, shrugged, and stuck it in a drawer. And it wasn't until a year later when I got serious about coin collecting that I realized that little copper penny was worth a serious chunk of change. Had I kept it in pristine condition, who knows? I could have been sitting on a gold mine. And that's the kind of regret that hits you like a ton of bricks when you realize you've had a treasure and didn't know it. Don't overlook your coins. You might have a 1973 D penny or another rare coin just sitting in your jar or your desk drawer, waiting for you to realize its true value. So, there you have it. The 1973 D. Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of history. It could be your ticket to millions. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can be worth something big if you know where to look. But as always, don't just take my word for it. Get your coins checked by a professional if you think you might have a rare one. It could be the best investment you've ever made. If you learned something today and you want to hear more tips on coins worth money and strategies for collecting, hit that subscribe button. You'll get more expert tips, stories, and everything you need to make sure you don't miss out on the next big find. Do you ever find yourself rummaging through your change jar or digging through a pile of pennies just hoping to find that one rare gem that could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, I've got a story for you today that might just make you want to take another look at those old pennies lying around. I'm talking about the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that, believe it or not, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.9 million. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, I've got a bunch of those pennies in my collection. Are they worth millions? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a solid understanding of how this rare penny became so valuable and how you can start spotting similar treasure hidden in your own collection. So grab your magnifying glass, a comfy seat, and let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1988 no-mint mark penny. Let's set the stage for why this 1988 no-mint mark penny is such a big deal. Typically, pennies minted in the US have a mint mark that indicates where they were made. You've probably seen the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But in 1988, there were a few pennies that came off the production line in Philadelphia that had no mint mark at all. Sounds pretty boring, right? Well, that lack of a mint mark is what makes this coin so rare and, in turn, so valuable. Now, before you go diving into your old jars of pennies, let me remind you that this coin is not just any 1988 penny. It's got to be in mint condition. We're talking about pennies that are practically perfect, with hardly a scratch, dent, or smudge. You know, the kind of pennies that make you feel like you just found a four-leaf clover or a winning scratch-off ticket. In fact, when these 1988 no-mint mark pennies are graded at the highest levels, say MS67 or higher, they can fetch up to $2.9 million. That's right, million. How the heck do I spot one of these? My change jar is full of pennies that look like they've been through a tornado. Well, here's the deal. While finding one of these beauties is rare, it's not impossible. These coins have a specific look and feel, and they've survived more than 30 years without getting chewed up in the daily grind of coin circulation. Kind of a personal experience. I remember a few years ago, I was digging through my collection, and I came across an old jar of pennies. This was one of those jars that had been collecting dust for who knows how long. I thought, why not see if there's something worth checking out? So, I started sifting through, and I came across a 1988 penny. The mint mark was missing, and my heart skipped a beat. My first thought was, this is it. I'm rich. But as I inspected it closer, I realized it wasn't in perfect condition. There were a few scratches, and it had a little tarnish. Still, it was a pretty cool find. I didn't get my $2.9 million, but it was a great reminder that you never know what might be hiding in those random piles of change. Now, back to the 1988 no mint mark penny. If you happen to stumble upon one of these coins in pristine condition, it could be the jackpot you've been waiting for. And here's where it gets interesting. Not every 1988 penny is going to be worth that much. The key factors are its condition, rarity, and, well, a little bit of luck. But knowing how to spot these rare coins and having the patience to search through your collection is what gives you a fighting chance to cash in on that big payout. First, look for the lack of a mint mark. If you find one with no mint mark, don't just assume it's valuable yet. Inspect the coin carefully. Is it in pristine condition? Is the Lincoln engraving sharp? Is the surface smooth and free from damage? Those are the qualities that push this penny into the high-value territory. Finding one of these coins is rare, and most of us are just trying to find that elusive coin worth more than its face value. So, while you're on the hunt for that gold mine, remember that there are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth more than you expect. You've got to get familiar with the right types of coins, understand how to grade them, and most importantly, learn how to spot the hidden gems that are sitting right under your nose. So, let's wrap this up. The 1988 no mint mark penny is an incredible example of how a small detail, like the absence of a mint mark, can turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a rare treasure worth millions. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these, or a similar rare coin, you could be looking at a payday like no other. But remember, just because a coin is old doesn't mean it's valuable. Condition and rarity are the big factors that drive up a coin's worth. If you want to learn more tips and tricks on how to find these rare coins, understand the ins and outs of coin collecting, and maybe even discover your next hidden fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to share all my best strategies with you, so you can start cashing in on the coins you've got at home. I know, it sounds a little like a treasure hunt, and it is. But if you stay tuned, I'll make sure you have all the knowledge you need to spot your next big find. So, go ahead, give that subscribe button a good old click, and stay tuned for more awesome tips about coins worth money. You're casually walking through your local coin shop, or maybe just sifting through some old coins at home, and boom, you stumble upon a 2007 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, you're probably thinking, it's just a penny. What's the big deal? Well, hold on to your hats because this penny could be worth a whopping $1 million. Yes, you heard me right, a penny. That tiny little copper disc you probably toss around like it's nothing could be worth a fortune. There's no way. I've got a bunch of pennies in my jar right now. I'm rich. Well, before you start calling your bank to cash out, let's dive in and talk about why the 2007 D. Abraham Lincoln penny might just be the rarest and most valuable penny you've never noticed. Body all right. Let's break this down. You might have seen those rare pennies being sold for big bucks on the internet, but you probably haven't heard much about the 2007 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and that's exactly why I'm here to shed some light on it. Why the 2007 D. Lincoln penny is worth so much. The 2007 D. penny isn't your average run-of-the-mill coin. It's a part of the 2007 commemorative series designed to mark Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all of these pennies were made the same. There was a very specific error during production that made this penny unique and, ultimately, rare. Isn't every penny made the same way? Well, sort of. But when it comes to error coins, sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's where the magic happens. For the 2007 D, there was an issue with the die used to strike the coins, which led to some of these pennies having unique characteristics. A little twist in the design, or even the minting process, can make the difference between a 1-cent piece and a $1 million jackpot. Alright, here's where it gets fun. Just because you've got a 2007 D penny doesn't mean you're going to retire tomorrow. Nope. You've got to check it closely. Look for those telltale signs of an error coin, things like missing details or strange design shifts that were caused by the die issues. Not all 2007 D pennies are worth $1 million, but if yours is one of the rare few with the right error, then congratulations, you've got yourself a ticket to the big time. Let me tell you a little story. I remember a few years ago, I was sitting on the couch, going through an old jar of pennies my grandmother had passed down. I had no idea what I was looking at, and I almost tossed a 2007 D penny into the just another penny pile. But then something caught my eye, a tiny little mark on Lincoln's cheek. Not much, but it was enough to make me think, wait a minute, that doesn't look like the others. I ran to the computer, Googled it, and found out it was one of the rare 2007 D error pennies. My heart skipped a beat. Was I staring at $1 million coin? Well, turns out it wasn't quite the jackpot I hoped for, but that coin did sell for more than a regular penny, and I learned the hard way how valuable even the tiniest imperfections can be in the world of coins. Now, let's talk numbers. If you've got one of these rare 2007 D pennies with the right error, the value can go up to $1 million or more. It's hard to believe, but the market for rare coins is wild, and the right collector is always out there willing to pay top dollar for an item like this. But, of course, there's always a catch. Finding one of these pennies with the correct error is like finding a needle in a haystack. Still, it's worth checking through your coins. You never know when that needle might pop up. I get it. You're probably wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these golden pennies? Make sure it's the 2007 D mint mark. That's crucial because the error occurred in Denver. Pay close attention to Lincoln's image, especially his hair and beard. The dye used for these coins caused some interesting shifts in the design, which makes these pennies unique. If you find one that looks even remotely suspicious, take it to a professional. They'll be able to tell you if it's a true error or just a regular penny that you might need to put back in circulation. Okay, let's say you hit the jackpot and find a true error penny. Now, you want to sell it, right? Well, first, congratulations on your good fortune. But before you jump into selling it, keep in mind that the market for rare coins can be a bit tricky. You'll want to do your homework on the current market trends for error coins, consult with reputable dealers, and maybe even get a professional grading service to verify its authenticity. You don't want to just toss it on eBay and hope for the best. Get expert advice to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. The 2007 D. Abraham Lincoln penny might just be the most valuable penny you've ever come across, but you've got to be paying attention to those tiny details. And if you happen to find one of those rare error coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions or heading over to the nearest coin shop, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, I've got plenty more coin tips and tricks coming your way to help you uncover the hidden gems in your collection. Who knows, your next big find could be just around the corner. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and good luck on your coin hunting adventures. Don't forget, stay curious, keep digging, and keep checking those pennies. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this little guy can't be worth anything, right? Well, let me stop you right there because today, we're diving deep into one coin that might just make your jaw drop. We're talking about the 1964 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth a staggering $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's got to be a joke, but trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your change jar. So, stick around and let's see how this little piece of history might just turn your financial luck around. All right, let's break it down. We all know the classic Lincoln penny. It's been around since 1909, and it's hard to find a coin that's been more of a staple in American currency. But what makes the 1964 D penny stand out? Why is it worth so much when you can find hundreds of these pennies lying around in old coin jars? The secret's all in the minting process, my friend. The 1964 D penny was produced by the Denver Mint, and while most of these pennies are worth their face value, which, let's face it, is pretty disappointing when you're looking for big money, some of them were made with a slight defect. This defect is what gives these pennies their insane value today. You see, there was a small batch of 1964 D pennies that didn't have the correct copper mixture when they were struck. Instead of the usual 95% copper and 5% zinc, some of these pennies ended up with a higher percentage of zinc, which made them stand out. These off-metal pennies, as they're called, are considered one of the rarest and most valuable finds in modern coinage. Imagine finding a penny that's worth over $1 million. That's like finding a needle in a haystack, right? But here's the thing. People have found these rare pennies in all kinds of places, from old change jars at grandma's house to boxes of mixed coins at garage sales. So, it's not impossible. Now, I have a personal story about this. A few years ago, I was at a local flea market, one of those dusty places where you're digging through old boxes of random junk. I wasn't expecting to find anything particularly exciting. But there, hidden at the bottom of a box filled with pennies, was a 1964 D. I almost missed it, thinking it was just another ordinary penny. But I had a hunch. I took a closer look, and bingo, there it was. The telltale signs of a rare 1964 D with a potential higher value. I ended up buying it for about 50 cents. Yeah, 50 cents. Long story short, I had it appraised, and sure enough, it was worth way more than what I paid for it. Now, I'm not saying you'll find $1 million penny just hanging out in your pocket change, but you never know when luck will strike. So, how do you spot a 1964 D penny that could be worth $1.1 million? First, check the mint mark. The 1964 D penny has the D mint mark on the obverse, just beneath Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. But remember, not every 1964 D penny is going to be a gold mine. You need to check the weight, the composition, and the condition of the penny. These rare pennies were made with a different alloy, so they'll feel a bit lighter or even different to the touch. If you think you've got one, your best bet is to take it to a professional coin appraiser. They can give you an official grade and tell you whether it's worth big bucks. So, now that you know about this rare gem in the world of coin collecting, it's time to start checking those pennies in your pockets, your coin jars, or even your local thrift stores. The 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could just be the treasure you've been waiting to find. Who knows? It could be worth more than your entire collection. And hey, if you found this video helpful, or if you're ready to start hunting for more valuable coins, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future videos where we dive into even more coins that could make you a fortune. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories from my own coin hunting adventures that are sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. So, get out there and start looking at those pennies with a whole new perspective. Who knows? Your next coin could make you a millionaire. All right, imagine this. You're at a garage sale, minding your own business, sifting through a dusty old box of loose change. You spot a penny. Just a regular penny, right? Well, what if I told you that penny could be worth over $1 million? I'm talking about the 1976 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds crazy, right? But the truth is, this little copper coin could put you on the path to a serious payday, and today, I'm going to tell you all about it. Stick around, because you might just have one of these hidden in your collection. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1976 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is a little piece of American history. It was minted in celebration of the United States bicentennial, so it has a special commemorative design that makes it stand out from the rest of the pennies produced that year. But here's where things get interesting. This coin wasn't supposed to be rare. It was part of a large batch, and normally, pennies are pennies, right? But sometimes, even the most mundane items have a surprise value. Now, don't get too excited just yet. Not every 1976 D penny is worth a fortune. You've got to have the right condition and a specific, rare variation that makes it stand out. We're talking about the well-known error coin version. Error coins happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, and they can end up being super valuable. With this 1976 D penny, the error occurs because of a doubling in the die, making the features on the coin look like they've been struck twice. This is what collectors go wild for. And the thing about these error coins is, they're not something you just come across every day. A minting mistake that happens in a mass-produced coin is rare, but when it happens to be a mistake that people can actually notice, it's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar. You get the error version, and bam! Your penny can be worth upwards of $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.2 million. That's one heck of a penny. And I speak from experience here. I remember digging through a coin jar at a friend's house, joking about how it would be awesome to find a rare coin, and boom, I came across a 1976 D penny. At first glance, it looked like any other penny, no double strikes or weird markings. So, I tossed it back in the jar thinking, nothing special here. Fast forward a few months, and I'm reading up on coin collecting and suddenly think about that penny. I dug through my old coins, hoping to find it again, but of course, it was long gone. Lesson learned. Don't dismiss any coin as just a penny unless you've really looked at it. If I had kept that coin and checked it more carefully, I could have had my own piece of the $1 million coin club. So, let this be a lesson to you. Check every penny, every dime, and every nickel. You never know when you'll stumble upon a small treasure hiding in plain sight. Now, let's talk about how to spot these rare error coins. It's not just about luck. There are some specific signs you can look for to determine whether your 1976 D penny could be worth a fortune. The first thing you want to do is check for that doubling. You're looking for a double date or doubled lettering on the coin. On the 1976 D penny, the most noticeable feature is the date and the Liberty engraving. If you look closely, and I mean really closely, you'll see the doubled lines, like the coin was struck twice. That's where the value lies. The more obvious the doubling, the higher the value, especially if the coin is in good condition. But don't just go off of the doubling. Make sure to also examine the overall condition of the coin. Is it well worn? Or is it in great shape, almost like it just came off the mint press yesterday? Coins in better condition can fetch a lot more money. When I say good condition, I'm talking about shiny, clear features, no obvious scratches, and minimal wear. Well, I'll just grab every 1976 D penny I see and check for this doubling thing. Hold your horses. While you're checking your coins, also keep in mind that error coins like this don't happen all the time. If you do come across one, it's your lucky day, but don't expect every penny from 1976 to suddenly make you rich. It's about catching the right error at the right time. So, let me wrap this up for you. The 1976 D. Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error is a rare, valuable find that could be worth over $1.2 million if you've got the right one. And if you're like me, a penny lover who has had their fair share of, why didn't I check that coin? Moments, I get it. But now, you've got the knowledge to not let a potential gold mine slip through your fingers. Check your coins carefully, look for those doubled strikes, and who knows? You might just become the next coin millionaire. Before I go, I've got a favor to ask. If you want more tips on how to spot rare coins worth big money, or even learn about other treasures hiding in your change, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of coin collecting strategies and insider tips coming your way. Don't miss out on your chance to learn how to turn your loose change into serious cash. So let me hit you with a bombshell right off the bat. You know that penny you've probably got lying around somewhere? The one you found in the couch cushions or the one that's been rolling around in the back of your car for months? Well, what if I told you that one of those could actually be worth over $1 million? That's right. Today, we're diving into the wild world of coin collecting, and specifically, we're going to talk about a little penny from 2006. I know, a penny doesn't sound like much, but when it's got a D mint mark and some specific characteristics, it could mean big bucks. So, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, right, a penny worth that much? Stick with me, because I'm about to change your mind. Okay, so let's break it down. In 2006, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Abraham Lincoln pennies, but there's a special group of these pennies that have a D mint mark. Now, don't start zoning out on me. This is where things get interesting. You see, a D mint mark simply means that the coin was made at the Denver Mint, not the Philadelphia Mint, which is where most of the regular pennies are struck. But not all D mint mark pennies are created equal. Some of them have certain characteristics that make them crazy valuable. Like, we're talking about a potential $1.3 million in value. Now, you're probably thinking, how can a coin worth less than 2 cents possibly jump to over $1 million? Well, here's where it gets fun. The key to this massive value is the rarity and the condition of the coin. In this case, it's not just any 2060 penny. It's the ones with specific errors or unique features, like the double die or a misstrike. Let me tell you a story. I remember when I first got into coin collecting. I was a teenager, and I thought I was going to be the next millionaire with just a few nickels and dimes. So one day, I'm at my local coin shop and I find this old-looking penny. I asked the shop owner about it, and he was like, "That's nothing special, just a regular coin." But I thought, what if? So, I ended up holding on to that penny for years, thinking it would be worth a fortune one day. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But that experience sparked my interest in learning the real way to spot valuable coins, and that's when I learned about the 2060 Lincoln penny. The first thing to keep in mind is that the condition of the coin is everything. Most pennies are used, scratched, and well-worn after being in circulation for years. But the rare ones, the ones that can fetch you a big payday, they're in pristine condition, often uncirculated, and with little to no wear at all. This is where professional grading comes in. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A coin in near perfect or perfect condition is going to be worth a whole lot more than a worn-out one. What's even crazier is that it's not just about being shiny and new. Some of these 2060 pennies have been struck with errors. Errors like double dies, where the image of Lincoln's face is literally doubled, creating a unique feature that makes the coin more desirable. These errors are like treasure hunts for coin collectors. Now, don't think that every 2060 penny is worth a fortune. Most of them aren't. But if you come across one of these special error coins in your pocket change, or maybe in your collection of old pennies, you could be sitting on a gold mine. It's all about knowing what to look for. But how do you know if your coin has the magic touch? Well, you can take a good look at it under a magnifying glass or use a loupe to examine it closely. Pay special attention to Lincoln's image and the lettering. If there's anything that looks out of place, like doubling or blurring, then you might have something worth taking to a professional appraiser. And don't get discouraged if you don't find one right away. Remember, coin collecting is a hobby of patience. It's like fishing. You can't just toss the line in and expect to catch a fish every time. Sometimes, you've got to wait for the right cash to come along. Are you ready to start your coin hunting journey? If you find a 2060 penny in your collection or while digging through that old jar of change, don't just toss it back in your pocket. Take a good look at it, and you might just be holding on to the next $1,000,000 treasure. And hey, I've got more tips and tricks for you on how to spot valuable coins, how to properly store them, and even how to avoid the scams in the world of coin collecting. If you want to keep learning about the fascinating world of coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to uncover more gems that could be worth way more than you think. Thanks for watching, and remember, coin collecting isn't just about making money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovering something unique, and the satisfaction of knowing you've got a little piece of history in your hands. Hey, coin hunters. Let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped a penny on the ground, looked at it, and said, nah, not worth bending over for that? Well, after this video, you're going to be on your hands and knees checking every coin like you're Indiana Jones searching for treasure. Because today, we're diving into a regular old 1980 Abraham Lincoln penny that's turning heads in the coin collecting world. Why? Because this little copper coin with no mint mark is worth up to $1,000,000. Yeah, I said it. $1,000,000. For a penny. That's right. 1 cent can buy you a mansion, a sports car, and still leave you enough for tacos on Tuesday. Now before you run to your change jar and start dumping it on the floor, stick around. We're going to break down why this coin is so valuable, what to look for, and how you can spot one in your own collection. Plus, I'll share a story of the time I nearly threw one of these in a Coinstar machine. Talk about a near miss. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's talk about turning pennies into piles of cash. Well, first things first. This penny has no mint mark, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. Philly didn't start using a mint mark on pennies until 2017. So the absence of a mint mark isn't rare in itself. But stay with me. What makes the $1,000,000 1980 penny valuable is a very specific set of errors and conditions that collectors go absolutely nuts for. In 1980, the Lincoln penny was still made primarily of copper. That's before they switched to zinc cores with a thin copper coating in 1982. So if you have a 1980 penny, it's likely copper and weighs about 3.11 grams. A simple kitchen scale can help you sort that out. Now, the valuable versions of this penny come down to some really specific minting errors and pristine condition. This is when the design on the front of the coin is struck more than once, but slightly misaligned. It creates doubling in the lettering, Lincoln's face, and other design elements. And I'm not talking about a barely there ghost image. I mean obvious doubling. If you can see it without squinting and second-guessing your life decisions, you might be onto something. Collectors love these because they're rare. And the 1980 double die obverse penny is like Bigfoot with a tan. Hard to find, but it's out there. Imagine the coin got stamped while it was off to the side, kind of like a coin that was trying to skip work and got caught halfway out the door. Some of these off-center errors show a partial blank area with the design shifted dramatically. If you've got a 1980 penny that looks like it was printed sideways or has part of the image missing, don't toss it. That's cash in the making. Okay, I know this sounds like a weird food order, but in the coin world, a cud is when part of the die breaks off, and the result is a blob or raised area on the coin's surface. Think of it like a birthmark for coins. Some collectors go crazy for these defects because each one is unique, like snowflakes, but worth way more than a snowball. Even if your 1980 penny has no crazy errors, if it's in mint state condition, I'm talking uncirculated, shiny, no fingerprints, no pocket lint, it could still be worth serious money. Coins graded MS67 or higher by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC are super rare. There's been buzz in the coin community about a 1980 no mint Mark Lincoln penny that was auctioned for close to $1 million. Why? It had a combo of rare error, pristine mint state, and collector demand. It was basically the prom king of pennies. This coin wasn't just rare, it was a unicorn. Perfect condition, rare minting error, and a bit of historical charm. A few years ago, I was digging through an old shoebox of change, thinking I might get enough quarters for a slice and a soda. I spotted a shiny 1980 penny with no mint mark. Thought it looked neat, but I was hungry, so I tossed it into a Coinstar machine along with the rest. But something about that penny stuck with me. Later that night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I did what any sane person would do. I went back to that grocery store at 9 p.m. and begged the manager to let me look through the Coinstar reject tray. He gave me the look. You know the one. Like I just asked to see his baby photos or borrow his toothbrush. But luck was on my side. That shiny little penny was sitting right there. I snatched it back and took it home. A few weeks later, I had it looked at by a local coin dealer. Turns out, it had a minor doubling and was in near mint condition. While it wasn't worth $1 million, I did get an offer for over $800. Always check your change. Seriously, that boring old penny in your pocket could be hiding a treasure trove of value. Use a magnifier, do some research, and if in doubt, take it to a professional. Coin collecting is part treasure hunt, part detective game, and part history lesson. That humble 1980 no mint Mark Lincoln penny might just be your ticket to the big time. Whether it's a double die error, off-center strike, die crack, or simply a shiny gem in mint condition, this penny has serious potential to SO the next time you find yourself with a handful of change. Don't be so quick to toss it into the nearest tip jar or soda machine. That copper coin might be more valuable than your car. Heck, maybe your house. And if you're anything like me, you'll start looking at your couch cushions, glove compartment, and even the bottom of your laundry basket like you're on an episode of Antique Roadshow. Now, if you enjoyed this little deep dive into penny power, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin collecting tips, coin hunting strategies, and stories of people turning pocket change into serious cash. So stay tuned, stay curious, and remember, in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest change can make the biggest difference. Hey there, treasure hunters and penny pinchers. Welcome back to the Big Coins Dealer channel, where a penny saved might just be a million earned. No, seriously, today we're talking about a 1984 D. Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. That's right, the kind of penny most folks wouldn't even bother picking up off the sidewalk. Now, before you go flipping your couch cushions or checking the jar of coins on top of your dresser, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know the kind of garage I'm talking about. Dusty old boxes, rusty tools, and a mysterious smell that I'm pretty sure was part motor oil and part old gym sock. Anyway, he had this big plastic jar full of pennies. I started sifting through them just to kill time, and what do I find? Not $1 million coin, but I did find a wheat penny from the 1940s. That moment sparked my obsession with coins. And if I had known then what I know now, I would have searched every coin in that jar twice. Now here we are, and I'm about to share with you everything you need to know about this crazy valuable 1984 D penny. So grab a drink, sit back, and get ready for the full story behind the little copper coin that could buy you a house. Let's kick things off with the basics. The 1984 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. It features the same familiar design we've all grown up with: good ol' Abe Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Classic, right? Just your everyday penny. Or so we thought. And I mean millions of these pennies. The Denver Mint alone pumped out over 5 billion of them. So how on earth did one of those end up being worth more than a Ferrari? Here's where it gets juicy. See, not all coins are created equal. The magic word here is error. That's right, mistakes, something we humans do all the time. But when the mint makes a mistake, especially in a coin, collectors go wild for it. It's kind of like when a baseball card has a typo or a stamp has a printing error. Suddenly, that everyday object becomes a rare collector's dream. The 1984 D penny in question has a double ear Lincoln. Yep, Honest Abe grew an extra ear. Now that's something you don't see every day. The double die error on Lincoln's ear is super obvious under magnification and even noticeable to the naked eye if you look closely enough. It's like Lincoln heard what his coin was worth and grew another ear to listen better. But wait, there's more. Some of these coins also have other die errors, like doubled letters or off-center strikes. These aren't just tiny flaws, these are jackpot signals for collectors. Imagine being the one who spotted that odd-looking penny while buying a soda. That's a pretty sweet return on investment. Now, about that $1.1 million price tag. How did we get there? It comes down to a few factors: rarity, demand, and condition. If your coin is in mint state condition, with a high grade from a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, you're looking at some serious value. I'm talking about a shiny, crisp, never seen a vending machine kind of penny. The highest known sale of a 1984 D with the doubled ear error in top condition hit over $1 million in a private auction. And when news like that hits the coin community, people start digging through their change like it's gold. Here's where the humor kicks in. I know folks who've spent more time staring at their pocket change than they do watching Netflix. One of my buddies carries a jeweler's loupe everywhere he goes now. He'll be at the gas station, holding up pennies to the light like he's Indiana Jones decoding an ancient map. And to be fair, I can't even make fun of him. I do the same thing. You should have seen the cashier's face last week when I held up a penny and said, "Hold on, I think Abe's got an extra ear. Condition is king." You could have the right error, but if your coin looks like it got run over by a lawnmower, don't expect 6 or 7 figures. So if you think you found one, handle it carefully. No rubbing it with toothpaste or soaking it in Coca-Cola. That's for TikTok hacks, not valuable coins. Now, if you're wondering where to even start looking, I've got you covered. Check coin rolls from the bank. Hit up estate sales, garage sales, and even flea markets. You'd be surprised what people toss into jars and forget about. And always check your change. That's the golden rule. Don't just stuff your pennies into a piggy bank and forget about them. You might be sitting on a tiny copper fortune. Let's not ignore the grading process. If you do find a suspiciously promising penny, the next step is to get it graded. Yes, it'll cost a little bit of money, but it's the difference between guessing and knowing. And trust me, if you think you've got $1 million coin, it's worth getting a second opinion. All right, let's bring it home. The 1984 D. Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can hold incredible value, especially when they come with a little flaw. We're talking about a simple 1-cent coin that's now worth $1.1 million, all thanks to a mint error and some passionate collectors. Start paying attention to your change. Learn about mint marks, coin errors, and grading. And don't be afraid to geek out a little. Coin collecting isn't just for history buffs or your grandpa anymore. It's for anyone who loves a good treasure hunt. And hey, if you found this video helpful, entertaining, or if it made you laugh even just once, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button. I'm always dropping tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could change your life, or at least your bank account. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a penny worth $1 million. And if you've got a coin story of your own, drop it in the comments. I love hearing about your finds and crazy coin adventures. Hey there, coin hunters and casual change checkers. Have you ever flipped a penny between your fingers, thought about tossing it into a wishing fountain, and said, "No, it's just a penny"? Well, you might want to hold off on making that wish because the penny in your hand could actually be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. I'm talking life-changing kind of money. We're diving into the story of the 1960 D. Lincoln penny, a little copper coin that could be worth as much as $1.2 million today. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.2 million. From a single penny. That's like turning pocket lint into a Porsche. So sit tight, grab your magnifying glass if you got one, and maybe check the couch cushions for some forgotten change. You might be sitting on a jackpot without even knowing it. Let me take you back to the year 1960. Elvis was still rockin', JFK was president, and the Denver Mint was pumping out pennies like there was no tomorrow. That year, they produced a ton of Lincoln cents. But there's a special twist. You see, not all 1960 D pennies were created equal. There are 2 major types that came out that year, the small date and the large date varieties. And this is where things get spicy. Now, the 1960 D small date penny, especially in high grades and with sharp details, is what collectors go absolutely bonkers over. Why? Because it's rare, and collectors love a good rarity more than a cat loves a cardboard box. These pennies were made in lower quantities, and many people didn't notice the difference back then. Fast forward to today, and boom, That little variation makes a massive difference in value. And before you start thinking every 1960 D penny is going to make you a millionaire, let me pump the brakes real quick. It's got to be the right type, in the right condition, with the right kind of mint luster and all that good stuff. Coins that are graded MS67 or higher. That's where the real money starts coming in. That's mint state, baby. Practically flawless. Shiny enough to signal aliens. But what makes this specific coin worth $1.2 million? Well, in the world of coin collecting, condition is king and rarity is queen. If you've got both, you're sitting on a throne of cash. There are only a handful of known 1960 D small date pennies in this ultra-high grade condition. They're almost like unicorns. A few of them were snatched up by serious collectors or auctioned off at big-time events where the bidding wars get hotter than a jalapeno in July. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was going through some old boxes in my garage. You know, the kind of boxes that have those mysterious cords and old VHS tapes you swore you'd never throw out. Anyway, I stumbled across an old jar of coins. Most were nothing special, a couple of wheat pennies, some crusty nickels, and one lonely 1960 D penny. At the time, I had no clue what it was worth, but something about it just looked different. So I did what any curious collector would do. I Googled it. And what I found sent me into a coin-checking frenzy. Now mine wasn't the ultra-rare one, unfortunately. But man, just the idea that it could have been. I was hooked. And I've been eyeballing every penny since like a hawk watching a mouse in a field. So how do you tell if your 1960 D penny is worth big money? First, check the date closely. If the numbers are thinner and closer together, chances are you've got a small date. The large date version has bolder numbers that look more spaced out. It might sound tricky, but there are plenty of side-by-side photos online to help you spot the difference. And once you think you've got something special, it's time to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That'll give it the official stamp of legitimacy and potentially bump its value sky high. But even if you don't hit the $1 million jackpot, there are still lower grade versions of this penny that can fetch anywhere from a few bucks to several $100s. That's still a whole lot more than 1 cent, right? You're basically turning copper into cash. And here's a little pro tip for my fellow penny pickers. Always check the condition. Look for luster, clarity in Lincoln's profile, and clean edges. And don't forget errors. Oh yeah, minting errors on 1960 D pennies, like double dies or repunched mint marks, can seriously boost value too. Think of it like the coin version of a birthmark. Weird, rare, and oddly valuable. Alright folks, let's wrap this up. If there's one thing I hope you take from today's video, it's this. Never underestimate the power of pocket change. That dusty old penny in your drawer might just be your golden ticket. The 1960 D Lincoln penny, especially the small date version in top condition, is a prime example of how something most people ignore can secretly be worth a fortune. So next time someone says it's just a penny, you go ahead and smile. Because you know better now. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure and you want to learn more about the coins hiding in plain sight that could make you rich, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. We've got a whole lot more treasure to uncover together. Hit the like, leave a comment telling me if you found a 1960 D in your collection, and don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss a chance to turn loose change into big bucks. Hey, coin crew, let me ask you something. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground, tossed it in your pocket, and thought, just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper-colored coins might just be worth more than your car, your house, and probably everything in your garage combined? I'm not kidding. There's a 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark out there that's been valued at a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yeah, $1.3 million. For a penny. Now before you go flipping your couch cushions and emptying out your car's cup holders, stick around. Because in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this insanely valuable coin. What makes it special, why collectors are going wild for it, and how to know if you've got one just sitting in your pocket change. And trust me, I've got a personal story in here that's going to make you double-check every penny you come across. Let's dive in. All right, first things first. Let's talk about what a no-mint mark penny even is. Most coins in the United States are made at one of 3 major mints: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Coins from Denver have a little D on them. San Francisco coins? They get an S. But Philadelphia? Most of the time, especially on pennies, it's got no mint mark at all. So when we say 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny, We're really talking about a coin that was made in Philadelphia. But here's where things get spicy. Not every no-mint mark penny from 1987 is worth $1 million. You gotta look for specific signs, errors, conditions, and rarity factors. What makes this 1987 penny worth $1.3 million is a rare combination of features. First off, this baby is a proof strike that was somehow released into circulation. That's like releasing a diamond-encrusted Rolex into a claw machine at the gas station. It's not supposed to happen. Proof coins are minted with extra care. They've got sharp details, a glossy finish, and they're usually only sold to collectors. They're not meant to be spent at the grocery store on a pack of gum. But every now and then, one escapes. Maybe someone at the mint had a bad day, or maybe they were just being generous with the public. Either way, a few proof pennies found their way into circulation, and one of those happened to be this 1987 no-mint mark beauty. This particular penny also has what collectors call a double die error. That means when it was struck, the coin got stamped twice, slightly off, creating a shadowy effect on the lettering and Lincoln's profile. It's kind of like a coin with a built-in echo. Double die errors are like gold in the world of coin collecting. And when they appear on a rare proof coin that wasn't even supposed to be in circulation in the first place, bingo, you've got yourself a unicorn. And a unicorn with $1 million price tag. A couple years back, I was at a yard sale. You know the kind, folding tables, mismatched coffee mugs, old VHS tapes. And there, in a dusty jar marked, "Take a penny, leave a penny," I spotted a shiny little 1987 penny. No mint mark. Perfect luster. Something told me to grab it, but I didn't. I took a random wheat penny instead because it looked older. Rookie mistake. A few weeks later, I'm doing research for another video in BM. I read about the 1987 no mint mark error coin. I swear I heard that penny from the yard sale laughing at me in the distance. Oh yeah. Now I double-check everything. Every single penny. My wallet, my change tray, even the one stuck under my car seat. I don't care if people look at me weird when I'm squinting at a penny in the checkout line. I'm not missing another one. What else should you be looking for if you think you've got one of these rare 1987 Lincoln pennies? Proof coins have extra clear lines. You'll see more texture in Lincoln's hair and beard than on your own chin after a 3-day weekend. Look closely at the date and the word Liberty. If the letters look like they've had one too many drinks and are seeing double, you might have a double die. We're talking mint state 67 or higher. That's coin grading speak for flawless. If it looks like it's been through the washing machine, sorry, but it probably won't hit that $1 million mark. Authentication. If you've got a coin that checks all the boxes, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Don't just toss it on eBay with $1 million price tag and hope someone bites. Serious collectors want that official stamp of approval. Let's talk about the current market value. This 1987 no-mint mark penny we've been talking about has sold for up to $1.3 million at auction. That's not wishful thinking. That's actual greenbacks changing hands. And as more people get into coin collecting and these rare pieces become harder to find, that value could go even higher. Think about it. You could be holding on to a penny that's worth more than a beach house, or a Lamborghini, or a really solid retirement plan. Not bad for a coin most people would walk right past on the sidewalk. The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a proof strike and double die error is a true collector's dream. And it could be hiding in your change jar right now. Check your coins. Every single one. Especially the shiny ones. Especially the old ones. Especially the ones you almost ignored. Learn from my mistake. Don't walk past the penny. Don't assume it's just pocket change. That little copper coin might just be your ticket to millionaire status. If you had fun with this video, learned something new, or if you're already flipping your couch cushions while watching, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got more stories, more hidden coin gems, and more laughs coming your way. We're building a community here of regular folks turning spare change into serious cash. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss a tip. Because the next coin I talk about might be sitting in your kitchen drawer right now. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever dropped a penny, shrugged your shoulders, and walked away like it's no big deal? Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper fellas could be worth, drumroll, $1.4 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A penny. 1 cent worth more than a mansion with a pool, a butler, and a refrigerator that talks back to you. Today, we're diving into the wild world of the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's one of the most underrated treasures hiding in plain sight. And if you've got one laying around, you might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. But before we get to the juicy details, let me tell you a little story that'll make you think twice before tossing change into the tip jar. A few years back, I was helping my grandma clean out her old junk drawer. You know the one: rubber bands, expired coupons, 3 dead batteries, and more paper clips than a small office should legally own. While I was knee-deep in dusty envelopes and mystery keys, I found a handful of old coins. One of them looked like your regular penny, Lincoln on the front, memorial on the back, kind of dull and worn. I almost threw it in a donation jar, but something told me to hold on to it. Turns out, that little coin was a 1991 Lincoln penny without a mint mark. I didn't think much of it until I read a news article a week later saying that exact type of penny had sold at auction for over $1 million. I nearly coughed up my cereal. Now, I'm not saying mine was the $1 million one, but it taught me a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the power of pocket change. Most pennies from 1991 were minted in either Philadelphia or Denver. Philadelphia minted coins usually come with no mint mark, which means at first glance, it doesn't look like anything special. But here's where it gets spicy. A small number of these 1991 pennies were struck on a bronze planchet instead of the regular copper-plated zinc. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from making pennies out of mostly copper to mostly zinc. But every now and then, an older blank would sneak through the production line. That's exactly what happened with this 1991 penny. It got struck on the wrong metal, bronze instead of the standard zinc, and that little goof-up turned it into a millionaire. Now, finding one of these rare pennies is like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, except instead of a factory tour. You get a shot at retiring early. All right, so now you're digging through your couch cushions with sweaty hands and dreams of early retirement. But hold up. Not all 1991 no-mint mark pennies are valuable. You gotta check for a few things. A standard 1,991 penny weighs about 2.5 grams. The rare bronze one? About 3.1 grams. So get yourself a cheap digital scale. It could pay off big time. The bronze ones tend to look a little richer in color. Think deeper brown, not that faded red copper look. Give it a gentle flick. Bronze pennies have a slightly different ring to them than zinc ones. Yes, your penny should sound like money. If you think you found one, don't just throw it on eBay and hope for the best. Get it graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. That certification can mean the difference between selling it for $20 or 1.4 million. 2 words: rarity and demand. Collectors go wild for minting errors, especially ones that involve the wrong metal. Combine that with the mystery of the no mint mark and the historical charm of old Lincoln pennies, and you've got yourself a collector's dream. It's like a unicorn in your pocket. A verified 1991 no mint mark penny struck on a bronze planchet sold for a staggering $1.4 million at auction. And no, that's not a typo. 1.4 million. That's enough to buy a small island or just eat nothing but lobster and cheesecake for the rest of your life. Truth is, these rare coins can show up anywhere. Your coin jar, pocket change, flea markets, garage sales, even in those little trays at the gas station checkout. You know the ones: take a penny, leave a penny. Yeah, well, maybe just take a penny next time. I've even heard stories of folks finding valuable coins and rolls from the bank. One guy unwrapped a roll of pennies and nearly fainted when he saw a rare mint error worth thousands. Makes you wonder if the person who wrapped that roll is kicking themselves right now. So, the next time you see a penny on the ground, maybe don't just step over it like it's gum. It could be your ticket to a new house, a dream vacation, or at the very least, an epic story to tell your grandkids. The 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can have massive value. It's like a modern-day treasure hunt. And the best part is, anyone can play. So check your pockets, dig through those jars, and maybe even give grandma's junk drawer a second look. Who knows, you might be one lucky penny away from becoming a millionaire. And hey, if you love learning about hidden coin gems, coin collecting strategies, and finding money where you least expect it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more stories, tips, and coin facts coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single one. Hey there, folks. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at a penny and thought, this could make me a millionaire? Never, right? Because let's be real, most of us think of pennies as pocket clutter. You drop them in the couch, in your car's cup holder, or you leave them at the gas station in that take a penny, leave a penny tray. But what if I told you that one little penny from 1989 with no mint mark could be worth a whopping $1.5 million? Yeah, I said million. With an M. Now, before you start flipping your couch cushions or checking your change jar, Hang tight, because I'm gonna walk you through everything you need to know about this rare beauty. From how it ended up being worth that much, to how to spot one, and even share a little story about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. Spoiler alert, it didn't go as planned. But hey, we're here to learn and laugh a little, right? So buckle up, grab that coffee, or even better, your coin jar, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at pennies like they're scratch-off tickets. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1989 Lincoln penny. Sounds pretty boring, right? It's got Abe's familiar mug on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and usually a little letter under the date showing where it was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. The penny we're talking about has no mint mark at all. Just 1989. Plain and simple. Now normally, a no mint mark penny means it was made in Philadelphia, which isn't that rare. But in this case, the coin we're talking about was struck on a bronze planchet, which was not supposed to happen in 1989. You see, the U.S. Mint switched from bronze to a copper-plated zinc composition way back in 1982. But once in a while, those older blanks get stuck in machines or storage bins and accidentally get used years later. It's like finding a dinosaur working at a tech startup. So when a bronze blank was used in 1989, it created an error coin. And error coins, especially ones this rare, are like the holy grail of coin collecting. Collectors go bananas for this kind of thing because it's a legit mistake, super hard to fake, and extremely limited in number. In fact, only a handful have ever been found, and that's why one sold for $1.5 million. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. One tiny penny, something you might use to pry gum out of your shoe, sold for $1.5 million. Now you might be wondering, how do you know if your 1989 penny is the magical one? Good question. First, weigh it. A regular zinc penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. But if you've got a bronze one, it'll come in around 3.1 grams. That's a solid difference. You don't need to be a scientist, just a good kitchen scale will do. And if the weight checks out, do not, I repeat, do not spend it at the vending machine. That's when you want to call in the pros. Send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC and let them take a closer look. Now let me tell you a little story. A couple of years back, I was going through this old change jar at my grandma's house. You know the kind, one of those giant plastic water cooler bottles filled with coins from the past 20 years. I'm digging through it, sorting out wheat pennies and old nickels, when I spot a 1989 penny with no mint mark. My heart practically stopped. I was pacing around the kitchen like I just hit the lottery. I grabbed my food scale, because that's all I had, cleaned it off, because, well, lasagna crumbs, and weighed the penny. I started texting friends. I Googled coin auction houses. I even called my boss and told him I might not be coming in on Monday. Yeah, that was bold. But as luck would have it, when I sent it in for grading, it turned out to be a regular Philadelphia issue that just had some gunk stuck to it, making it weigh a little more. Not bronze. Not rare. Just dirty. I was crushed. I mean, back to work on Monday with lasagna-flavored disappointment. Still, the experience taught me something. These coins are out there. You might not find one today or tomorrow, but if you don't look, you definitely won't find it. That's like playing hide and seek with your eyes closed. And come on, if someone out there found one and made $1.5 million, what's stopping you from being the next lucky collector? Don't just look at the date. Look at the weight. Look at the condition. And keep your eyes peeled for coins that feel just a little off. That's often where the treasure hides. And don't forget about other valuable pennies too. There's the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and that famous 1982 small date bronze. The world of rare coins is wild, my friend. It's like metal detecting, but you don't have to leave the house or deal with sunburns. All right, so let's recap. There's a 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny out there that sold for $1.5 million. It's made of bronze, not the usual zinc. You can tell by the weight. It's extremely rare, and if you find one, your life might change overnight. Now I don't know about you, but if there's even a tiny chance that the coins rattling around in my car's ashtray could be worth more than my car, you better believe I'm checking every single one. So here's what I want you to do. Go grab that old coffee can full of change. Check your wallet. Dig through your junk drawer. Look at every 1989 penny you've got. You never know when lightning might strike, and this time, it might just come in the form of a dirty old copper coin. And hey, if you liked this video, if you laughed even once, or if you're now side-eyeing every penny in your house, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin tips, crazy stories, and money-making strategies coming your way. Let's turn pocket change into life change, one video at a time. All right, folks, grab your magnifying glasses and coin jars because what I'm about to tell you might just knock your socks off. Imagine this. You're in line at the grocery store, counting out exact change like it's 1998, and you hand over a regular OL penny. No big deal, right? But that little brown coin you just tossed away could have been worth $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard me right. 1.6 million for a penny. A 2019 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. So before you go digging under couch cushions just yet, stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly what makes this coin so special, how you can spot it, and why you might be sitting on a literal fortune and not even know it. Now let me tell you a quick story that'll make this even more real. A couple years back, I was visiting my Uncle Dave. He's one of those guys who saves every coin he's ever touched. He even has jars labeled by decade. I'm poking through his collection for fun, and I pull out this shiny 2019 penny. It looked normal, but it felt different. No mint mark. I told him it might be something, but he just waved it off and went back to watching reruns of Matlock. Fast forward to today, and we're talking about that exact coin going for over $1 million. I still bring it up every time I see him. He just shakes his head and says, if it was worth that much, it would have glowed. Spoiler alert, it doesn't glow. But your wallet sure will if you find one. First off, this little copper-colored miracle features good OL, Honest Abe on the front, just like every other penny minted since 1909. But here's the catch. Most 2019 pennies were made in either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. And most of them have a little mint mark under the year. Either a D, an S, or nothing at all. That's where things get interesting. Now, the no mint mark usually means it was made in Philadelphia. Philly typically skips the mark on pennies. So technically, that's normal. But in this case, a very tiny batch of these no mint mark coins were struck with a highly unusual die, one that had an ultra-sharp strike, almost proof-like, and a composition flaw that caused a very distinct doubling in certain areas. And here's the kicker. Some of them were accidentally released into circulation. Yeah, like tossed into your change at the gas station. The result? A 1-cent coin now worth $1.6 million. Number 3. Flip that bad boy around and examine Lincoln's profile, the word liberty, and the motto "I in God we trust." If you see doubling or a mirrored surface that looks fancier than usual, bingo. You might just have one of the elite error coins. But let's take it a step further. Most million-dollar coin finds aren't about the error alone. It's about rarity and condition. You need to get your coin graded. That means sending it off to a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll slap it in a case and give it a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. The closer to 70, the higher the value. If your 2019 no mint mark penny scores in the high 60s and has the known doubling error, you're in millionaire territory. Well, let me put it this way. Have you ever hit a deer with a coin? No. Exactly. It's rare, but not impossible. Just like scratch-off tickets, garage sale Picasso paintings, and people who actually finish a tube of chapstick. It happens. And the only way to guarantee you don't find one is by never checking your change dough. And just to clarify, this isn't one of those YouTube fairy tales where someone claims their cousin's best friend's plumber found one in a sock drawer. Nope. Real examples of this coin have gone to auction and fetched life-changing sums. We're talking headlines, bidding wars, and sweaty palms if you're like me and you still toss pennies in that kitchen junk drawer with the batteries and old ketchup packets. It's time to take a second look. And next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth anything, ask them if they've heard about the 2019 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Then casually mention it's worth $1.6 million and watch their jaw hit the floor. Remember, finding coins like this is part strategy, part luck, and part paying attention. It's not about hoping for a miracle. It's about knowing what to look for, staying curious, and keeping your eyes peeled. That's how collectors turn pocket change into paychecks. Now here's what I want you to do. First, go check your change jar, your car console, that random drawer in the kitchen, anywhere a penny might be hiding. Second, hit that subscribe button like it owes you money, because I've got more coin tips, collecting strategies, and stories of everyday folks striking it rich, just like you might. And hey, share this video with a friend who thinks coins are just clutter. Let's make some millionaires together, one penny at a time. Hey, before you toss that handful of change into the tip jar or let it sit in the bottom of your car cup holder, Hold up. You might be sitting on a small fortune. I'm not even kidding. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a crusty OL penny from 1949, and realizing it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yeah, that's right, 1.7 million bucks. That's more than most people's houses. So let's talk about the 1949 wheat penny with no mint mark. If you've got one, or if you might have seen one rattling around in your junk drawer, you'll want to pay close attention. We're going to break down what makes this little copper coin so valuable, how to spot the $1 million versions, and yep, I'll tell you a little story about the time I almost spent a rare penny on a vending machine candy bar. Spoiler alert, I was young and dumb. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to make sure you're not accidentally giving away a fortune with your next handful of pennies. The 1949 wheat penny was minted just a few years after World War II. These coins are part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. They've got Abraham Lincoln on the front, looking presidential as always, and two wheat stalks on the back, which honestly look like they belong on a box of cereal. Now, most 1949 pennies aren't worth much. We're talking maybe a few cents to a couple bucks if they're in decent condition. But the one we're talking about today, the no mint mark 1949 wheat penny, is no ordinary penny. It's a unicorn in the coin world. Well, first off, the no mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. That's not unusual, but what is unusual is that this particular penny has some very rare characteristics. Only a tiny number of them have a unique combination of errors, near-perfect condition, and high-grade copper composition. We're talking coin grading levels of MS 68 and up, meaning the coin looks like it just rolled out of the mint yesterday. There's one particular 1949 no mint mark wheat penny out there that sold for a whopping $1.7 million because it checked all those boxes. Razor-sharp strike, flawless surfaces, rich red color, and just enough rarity to make collectors drool like my dog when I'm eating steak. Now, before you go flipping over your couch cushions looking for pennies, let me tell you about the time I almost spent one of these bad boys. I was maybe 15, cleaning out my grandpa's garage with him. We found this old dusty coffee can full of coins. He told me to go ahead and keep whatever I found interesting. Being the young genius I was, I grabbed a couple wheat pennies because they looked cool and stuck them in my pocket. Later that day, I was at the grocery store and short a few cents for a Snickers. I reached in my pocket, grabbed one of the pennies, and handed it over. Didn't think twice about it. It wasn't until years later, when I got into coin collecting, that I realized I had spent a 1949 wheat penny in nearly perfect condition. I still lose sleep over that candy bar. Always check your coins. Even the lowly penny might be worth a small fortune, especially if it's from 1949 with no mint mark. The better the condition, the more it's worth. If your 1949 penny looks like it's been through a war, it's probably not hitting that $1 million mark. But if it's shiny, clean, and has sharp details, you're on the right track. Serious collectors love red coins. I know that sounds weird, but copper coins can be red, brown, or red-brown depending on how they've aged. The redder the better when it comes to value. Some of these high-value 1949 pennies have double dyes or other minting mistakes. That's when the coin gets struck more than once, creating a kind of shadow effect on the letters or numbers. Sounds like a mistake, but collectors love them. Kind of like how a misprinted baseball card can be worth more than a perfect one. This is big. If you really think you've got a winner, send it into a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll give it a score, and that score can make or break your payday. Also, here's a fun fact. Some folks have found valuable wheat pennies at flea markets, estate sales, or even coin roll hunting at the bank. You'd be amazed how many valuable coins slip through the cracks just because nobody takes the time to look. And that brings me to coin collecting strategy. If you want to find one of these $1.7 million beauties, you need to be consistent. Hit up coin shops, estate auctions, local garage sales. And don't be afraid to ask friends or family if they've got old coins lying around. You'd be surprised what people forget they have. It's like treasure hunting, but without the pirates. Now, I know some folks think coin collecting is just for old guys in basements, but let me tell you, it's one of the most exciting hobbies out there, especially when you realize a single coin can change your life. One minute you're scraping together coins for fast food, the next minute you're holding on to a $1 million piece of history. The 1949 no mint mark wheat penny might look like a regular old penny, but if you've got the right one, in mint condition, with rare features, and maybe even a cool error or two, It could be worth up to $1.7 million. Check your change. Dig through those jars. Call up your grandparents and ask if they've got an old coin collection collecting dust. You never know, the next great discovery could be sitting in your sock drawer. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more coin collecting tips, stories, and strategies to find coins worth serious money, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you don't miss a single upload. We've got plenty more coin treasures to uncover together.